Welcome back to the artist always known as Alejandro in this holiday season. Alright, well, we've had some misty Christmas videos, Grinch, but now it's time to get my character Meow Meow. This might have been, well, I know it's one of the earliest drawings. I don't know if it's the second drawing I ever did of Meow Meow, but I figured, yep, let me do a Meow Meow Christmas one. So this is the original clip. Woohoo! Hi, Meow Meow. Meow Meow! And so I want to refresh it. It looks good, you know. I've got some things going on, but looky here. Let's break it down. Originally, I did this, it looks like I originally did it straight here in pencil, really black pencil. What's pencil? Yeah. So I was playing around with this, and this is the original sketch. I started on this layer. Now they're all raster layers. I did not know about vector layers. Let's get that squared away. But it's still good. And I did this in pencil. I did it on a transparent background. I didn't know about the filled in canvas, but there, I kind of did my breakdowns in shapes. It helped. So once I did that, I did the line art again on a raster layer. And that's what came out. But yeah, you can see raster layers. Didn't know about the vector layers. And you know, I'm all about the vector layers, but so be it. But there's a big no-no. There she is in ink and color on the same layer. Yeah, you see that? I colored her and I inked her on the same layer. I did not know. Yeah, that's a big no-no. I mean, she still looks good. Yeah, she's flying. She's giving holiday cheer, a bag full of goodies there. And then I added another layer above that. So I knew about layers a little bit and did this crazy design. But as you can see, I didn't know about clipping to the layer below. You could see some of the design is popping out when it shouldn't be. I did a pretty good job containing it. It was popping out. But I also added another layer above that, which added the shading. Again, I didn't know about clip to layer below, but I was on the right track. However, as you can kind of see, some of my airbrushing does bleed into other things. See that? Even some of my lines. And Meow Meow didn't have her distinctive waves in her hair, but look at that. See, some of them are bleeding into other layers. It's admirable. It's still decent, but you can see I was still but a novice. You can see it's kind of blurry too. That's what happens when you shading on the same layer, I should say. When you're shading on the same layer, that's the danger you run into. And then I added the snow in the background using the bloodstain brush. You make them white, you make the color white, it looks like snowflakes. And then I added this blue background, give you a little holiday cheer, and some trails of her flying through the air, and of course have a very Meow Meow Christmas. Decent, but looking at it now, I think I can make it better. So let's do this. So as you can see, I've added a few more. I have my vector layer yet ready to go. I made this a duplicate file so I didn't have to mess with the other one. And oddly enough, in the original sketch, I have 2 layers of ink because I made her thicker, which I didn't know. That's kind of weird here. So there's my vector layer. Okay. All right, so I'm going to still I did a duplicate, so I'm going to trace over what I've done. So I'm going to make her a little more translucent. You'll bring the level down a little bit so it's easier to trace. You're not completely, you can see where your lines are going. Yeah, there it is. There's the two layers that have lines. I didn't know about the thickening tool, evidently. So we're going to do the, I was thinking of doing the G pen. But you know what? So let's keep it with the G pen. But you know, yeah. I did use the G pen, but I think I'm enjoying the round mixing brush, so we're going to that. I think I have it set to a 5. I want it to be too thick. And there's my vector layer. Here we go. I probably can zoom in. Now you know, you've seen me do one drawing of Meow Meow, but if you're on the channel, I have done other ones. I made some shorter videos of just phases of Meow Meow drawings. But in this artist always known as Alejandro playlist, this is my first time doing a Meow Meow that is colored. It's a colored drawing. As you can see, I'm keeping the ears kind of the same, but you know I draw her ears a little differently now. Back then I was still getting to know her. I had my basic idea. It always starts with a face for me. And with her, yeah, I know her face very well. I've illustrated 3 books with her. She's practically on every page. And so just fine-tuning this, you know, that's the other thing. When you do the vector layer, you can move things around. I made her eyes a little too full, but I do like the tic-tac shape. Not TikTok, tic-tac. Yeah. And I know to this day, I kind of wish I never gave her whiskers. I just hate drawing them, but it's part of her. And in the tail, I wish I could have left the tail out. At least in this drawing, you don't see the tail. But it makes her more meow meow, I guess. And here, like, one of the best things with digital drawings, you can overlap. You always could erase what you don't need. And if things are a little jagged, you can use your simplify tool to round things out. Which I do, but I do it off camera, because why would we waste time showing that? It's all about the drawing. And do any of you celebrate Christmas? It's not what it used to be to me. I'm an older dude. I had fond memories when I was a young dude. As I get older, I mean, it's just me and my wife here. Wish I could see my granddaughters and niece, stepdaughter, and the rest of the fam, but they're all the way in Long Island in New York, so it's kind of tough to get out there. Not impossible, but a little tough. It is kind of fun that you could do this on Christmas Eve. That's when I'm posting this, obviously. It doesn't mean you have to stick with just this day. You could do it any time of the year, but it's that time of the season. So I would have done this originally in 2022. Like, oh, let me do a Meow Meow Christmas drawing. This cute little outfit. Keeping in her theme. You know, she still has a cape. She still has her skirt. But I made it Christmassy. There we go. And just taking each little section at a time. You know, I kind of like to have things overlap, so if I need to erase things, it's a lot easier. Now, I am tracing over exactly what I did, but there will be a few tweaks that happen later on, you know, when I'm straightening the lines, which you won't see, but you'll see it in the result of the next section when I'm coloring. I thought initially I was going to keep the color layers, and the shading layers, but you know what? I think the only layer I kept exactly the same was the design I put on the bag. which is those brushes that have musical notes. Also the same ones that have the blood spatter for the snowflakes and the glitter sparkle. This was fun to do. You know, making little Christmas ruffles on a dress. It's lots of fun. Just kind of play around, and this little fluffy cloud adding to the trim of the skirt. It's a pretty easy concept to come up with. Even the legs, you can see, look how jagged they were. I just kind of drew them, not really trying to focus on making clean lines and shapes. It's just kind of like jagged. The feet are all right. Her heel is all right. See, this is fine. You can still do that and erase what you don't need later on. Yeah, look at that. Make that a little straighter, see? Takes a few tries, even when I've been doing this for a while. And you can always move her feet around. I might make a Meow Meow Christmas book. You guys have any ideas? You know, she likes to help find lost animals. Obviously, the biggest one that comes to mind is a reindeer. But what would be the premise, you know? See, I was looking at this hand, like, it doesn't seem to be anatomically right. See how her forearm is out there and her palm starts coming in way too soon. It's like, it's this little stub. I trace over it, but I'm going to tweak it. I like the word tweak. It's one syllable instead of having to say edit. Just two syllables. And tweak sounds fun. Edit sounds kind of sterile. Tweak. Like, Alejandro, what is it, becoming like a weird grammatical lesson here? Nah. Vocabulary, language is fun. Embrace it, use it. That's why I'm narrating this thing. Trying to make a little more liveliness and fun during the season. Hey, if you're sketching along with me on Christmas Eve, thanks for joining me. It means a lot. You could play around with this too, make your own Meow Meow sketch, whether it's digitally or on paper. Analog, baby. Yeah, you saw what Misty's Christmas bag in the last video. I painted it green, but I had it just sparkle. This one, I went to town. Like, I just don't want an ordinary looking bag. This has got to have some crazy wild design. So I did layers of the stars. You can see, I think there was lace in there. That was fun to put together. But again, I didn't know what I was doing, so some things were bleeding out past the bag, which is not what I want. To take a few tries at this. There we go. Things are joining up. Did I miss anything? Let's see. Oh, the cape. Gotta give her a cape. It's very important. Meow Meow always has a cape. All right, so it's looking pretty good. I'm not going to do the circles for the belt. You know, you can always use the circle tool. So I'm not boring you with that. But here we are taking off the layers that we don't need. And there she is, like that. Time to tweak those. You could always pause the video. And now look, here's Meow Meow edited. Yay. See, I fixed that hand. Made her forearm and arm a little better. A little wider. Fixed her feet. There we go. So there's the original colors. There's the original sketch. And now here's the remastered one. Just the line art. So you can see there's some differences. So what I'm going to use is that line, that original piece, and use that as the guide to start coloring the new one. So you just use your droplet. And of course you do the layers mostly up front. It's closer to the camera. But make sure you don't do anything that's touching each other. Very important. I had those layers down there, but I'm like, all right, we're going to just make this transparent so I know there's some white areas. So I'll be able to see them. So make sure you do that. If you're coloring in stuff that's white, this way you can see it. And that might be it for this layer. I mean, what else is in the front? You got to see that you can't do the hat. I probably could do that. All right, I'm going to do that because it's going to be all by itself. But that's about it. So, I'm putting that on the same layer? Okay. Oh, no, now I'm on the next layer, duh. So yeah, see, make sure things don't touch each other. And, oh, I'm doing those. Okay, yep, there's my circle, see? May have to zoom in because sometimes these don't fill in all the way. And if anything, I see there's the green on there. I want to make that up front. So we're going back to the other Meow Meow drawing, and then I'm going to get rid of the design so I could grab the green all by itself and bang. That's it. We're not putting green on this other layer because her forearm is closer. All right, I always like to check, make sure I got everything I want on that layer, and it's time to move on. We are going to get the pink now on her little nose. Yeah, I don't need the shading on that. Do the pink on both her ears and her nose. And what else? Ah, that makes sense to do the ruffle, the little cottony trim on those pieces. Really nothing else I can do when you look at it. I can't do the red. Nope. So let's move on to the next layer. Finally filling in the whites of her eyes. And what else can we do? Ah, the white in the hat. That's cute. And the little collar. Is there anything else I could do? What do you think? Let's go to that other drawing. I'm capturing the red. What am I going to do? Ah, I think I'm doing her forearm. Yes, good idea. It's closer to the camera. And is that it? So you could put a few things on the same layer, as you can see. I'm moving on to the next one. So we do the hat. Are we? Yeah, we're doing the top half. There we go. Looks cute. Doing the top half of her outfit, and that might be it. Moving right along, we're doing the green. See, the green is above the skirt, so we'll not put the skirt on the same layer. We can put the cape on this layer because it's all the way out there, the outer part of the cape. That might be it for this layer. Moving right along, let's see. I do the red there, and I think I'm going to do the inside of the belt. Yes. Kind of get an idea, and I just kind of, it's all black, but I wanted to give it just like a dark, dark red, so there's a hint of it. You may have to zoom in on this one because, or not. There it is. And that might be it for this layer. I think I soon realized I need some more. So I have to add some more layers. Here on this layer, I will do the skirt and her hair. Now I need to add a layer. I ran into a little trouble. I wasn't really paying attention. Like if you add layers where there's the clip to layer below, I already did that. You have to uncheck it. Let's see what I did. It took me a few tries to figure out what I was doing. I realized I have layers there I'm not even using. So let's use those. Make them red. So I do the inside of her cape. And then I do one leg. You're not going to put both legs on the same layer because one is above the other, right? So I realized I got to do one more layer for her leg below. Very important to pay attention. And if you always just click that dot there, it takes the color off and you can see where you are. Yay! There's the old one, there's a new one. Look at that. Hand's a little different. Lines are nice and thick. The expression is still holding on. Clean lines, nice colors. Now it's time to do some. What do we do next? We do some shading. I think I was having a hard time trying to figure out where the layer with the, I want to say the bag art. Here was the shading area, which I don't need. I need the layer that has the bag art. Yeah, I was having a little trouble with this. There's the layer. I should have just looked at that and bang. There it is. So now that it's clipped to the layer below, zoom in, look at that. The lines are not bleeding out. Kind of cool. See, this time they're contained. So remember, clip to layer below, and they won't go past the lines ever. And I was really obsessed with this line here. I think I wanted to use my good old liquify tool. They look too neat, so I'm going to run that liquify tool over some of them. Look at that. So just kind of give it a little more shape and not just a sterile thing. I don't want to go too hard, just enough to give it a little more movement. Nice. All right, moving right along. Add the background. Add the very Meow Meow Christmas. So now that I have these layers, what else do I need to add? The snow. Where's the snow? Oh, there that is. Must keep searching. There it is. We're going to add to that. So now we're doing the clip to layer below. Remember, you always put it above the layer you want it to reference because you're clipping it to the layer below. And then you could do your droplet, and then I always like to bring the colors down a little bit so you can see the shading happening. There it is. Like my sunlight's coming off to the from the left side of the screen. You can change the size. I do like to keep it large when I'm doing this, like the edge. Of course, if you're doing this close to a small part, you want to make your airbrush a little smaller. There you go. Just adding that little something something. Gives it a little more dimension. I like the shading with the airbrush. It was one of the greatest tools in my kit here. So your hand's a little, makes a little more sense. And then her finger is a little bit shade there. Don't need a lot. Just in there. Darken a little bit as it goes down. Just rechecking, make sure I know what's exactly on that line. Layer. Why do we keep saying line? See what's on the layer. I'm just adding a little bit of shade on the little cottony balls there. All right, next layer. What are we hitting first? There's the original. And there's this one. Just kind of getting some reference here. Looking at the shade I use. So just kind of do white and then bring it down to give it just a little bit of gray. And then you do that and it looks metallic. It's nice. When you pull back the picture, you may not see it, but I know it's there. I'm sure you my fellow artists know it's there, and that's what's important. It's that little extra thing you did. And just keep moving on. Well, if you have any other holiday drawings you did, share them. I'd like to see what you guys have done. It doesn't have to be Meow Meow or Misty, or it could be any of your characters. It could be the Grinch. Could be something from a movie. I mean, that's one of the best things about the season 2 is watching those movies, right? I've watched a few. There's a few I've never seen before this year. It's nice to see something different. As the chair creaks underneath me. Or maybe that's chestnuts roasting on an open flame. I've never done that. I don't know if I want to have a chestnut. The smell is pretty cool. But I don't know. It seems like a very harsh nut. Any meow meow. Moving right along. So I'm looking at some of our other layers here. And continuing the shading process. Time to get the red. Look at that. That's fun. There you go. I love shading in the really bright colors. It just adds something else. You got to think where the light is going to be casting a shadow. And there you go, right there. So much fun. I love shading. Obviously, I'd make more videos of coloring, but it takes time. Maybe when I have enough of these videos, I'll do separate videos on shading and coloring. The ones I've already done, like Spider-Man and Captain America, Batman, Spider-Woman, and my other characters. So my other characters will be all new to me, because I've never colored them before. But Meow Meow, we know Meow Meow. It's always a good, make the layer disappear to make sure you know exactly what you're coloring. Then go for it, because you do want to, if you're not on the same layer, nothing will show up. So you're on the wrong layer. That's one of the great things, too, about clip to layer below. It will let you know you're not on the right layer. We're darkening in that. There's the white, and we're just adding a little shade where the bag is. See? Yeah, Oh, I see there's that. I even shaded that just a tad, the belt. Made it a little darker. Alright, now we do the leg. Right? Yeah. Oh, her hair. Her hair's on that layer. With Meow Meow, I like to do this thing where I do these strips where her line art here will eventually be. Just like to do these dark layers. Now we're going to add shade to her leg. Obviously, you get shadow from the skirt and the bag. Here you go. And of course, make sure you want to clip to layer below. You could do it on the same layer as you have color, and then eventually you'll pay the price when you start saying, hey, it's bleeding together. It's like, oh no. Just make sure on the layer below. I noticed that, look at the bag. I'm going to shadow in the back, add the shade to the bag, but there's a design missing on the handle. I'll get to that. I thought I had it, but I guess I didn't have it. But it's okay. Move on and just shade the bag. See, make it a little darker there. Add that extra dimension. Even adding a little bumps, a few shadow bumps. There's a whole bunch of presents in there, giving you a little more dimension instead of this green blob. Well, I noticed my handle is missing some of the bag art. So here we go to those special brushes where I have the stars. I'm going to add some of those on here. Oh, now I got to remember, it's a layer above that. I got to actually, I know now I realize I got to add another layer for layer clip below. Clip to layer below. This way, there we go. It shows up. It's just, remember, that part was closer to the camera. So then I added a little bit of the, whatever this was. Really didn't have to go that crazy. I even went, did I add the lace as well? I didn't really need to, but there you go. I added that. And I'm going to liquefy it a little bit. It's right next to your blending tool. I do blend her hair. I like to blend her hair. And that's the first selection, just the regular standard smooth blending tool. See, it kind of just gives her hair a little, instead of more being jagged, it gives a little more flow. There you go. Flows a lot better. Now, let's see. Going back to my round mixing brush, and I'm going to draw in the hairlines like I always do with Meow Meow. Usually those extra lines that I will do, I just got to be careful because it is still on the same line as everything else. Layer! Same layer! Sharks with frickin' layers. Not lasers, layers. And then there's her palm line. I don't really do much else here. Really not much, no reason to add many more things. Looks pretty good compared to the way it was. It still was a nice drawing, you can see. There we go, add a little more. I added some shading there, my little shading lines, just to give it a little extra something, I guess. Instead of just making this big bloppy bag. What else can we do? Looking back, there's the original and here's the present one. I think I also added some snowflakes, but I did that off camera. But we see them back and forth now. Let's see them side by side. Look at that. The OG and the new. Fun times. Yeah, you can see I added more snowflakes to the new one. And yeah, very pleased the way it came out. I'm glad I redid it. And here she is, full screen. Meow Meow in her Christmas getup. Flying in to bring lots of holiday cheer this season. Hope this brought some cheer to you today. Always love creating with you. And like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. And you know, it's that time of year. I hope you do have a very merry Meow Meow Christmas this season. And this is my gift to you. Love creating, and it was fun redoing this illustration for you. All right, until then, have a very merry Meow Meow Christmas and keep creating.